You're listening to the Unstoppable Teen Podcast, episode number 45. Welcome to Unstoppable Teen, the podcast for teenagers, parents, and teachers. My name is Kevin Mincher. Every week, we will bring you an inspirational person or message to help you experience more success and happiness. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's get this party started. Hello, Unstoppable Nation, it's Kevin here. Welcome to the show. In this episode, we're going to focus on the 3 essential elements of teen health. I thought it was about time that we brought this really important topic up front and central. For too long, we haven't done enough to help young people, parents and teachers know what's important and what they can do to improve their health. It's a topic that's super close to my heart. My mum used to work for the National Health Service. My dad was a PE teacher and then a sports coach. And inevitably, when I was born and raised in that kind of environment, health was an everyday part of life. But in many households, and particularly in the modern world, it's not. You see, here's the thing. Here at Unstoppable Teen, you probably know that we're constantly conducting research into what helps young people experience happiness and success in their lives. And we're constantly conducting research via our website by asking people to complete various surveys. And these surveys collect information and data about the things that are proven to improve teenagers' happiness and success. We've been getting some really worrying results around teen health. Less than 3% of people, young people that complete our surveys, are actually consuming the level of nutrition, the portions of fruits and vegetables that the human mind and body needs in order to be healthy. Less than 20% of students are hydrating themselves to the correct levels, and a similar percentage are getting the right amount of sleep and rest per night. It's no wonder in this kind of scenario that we experience rapidly increasing rates of teenage obesity, problems with increases to diabetes, and all kinds of other debilitating illnesses and diseases. And frankly, these things are avoidable if we make better lifestyle choices and develop better habits on a daily basis. So before we dive in to the 3 essential elements of teen health, I felt it was important to give a definition of what is health. Because we kind of throw this word around and use it daily in our language. But do we really have a depth of understanding about what it really is? You see, to me, health is about more than the absence of disease. It's not just about avoiding illness. Health is about having the energy, the capacity that is needed to fulfill our greatest desires. So any goal that you may have, whether that's in your friendship group, whether that's something to do with your future career, a hobby, your family, you need to have the energy that's required to create the life that you want. And to me, health is about having that energy. It is not just about the absence of disease. It is about the capacity for energy. So the question is, where does that energy come from, and what are these 3 essential elements of teen health? I will be revealing all in this show. So what are these 3 essential elements of teen health? Well, first of all, before I go any further, if you want to follow along, I've created a little freebie that you can download at no cost whatsoever. Simply go to unstoppableteen.com/45 download. And there you can download a simple guide to these 3 essential elements of teen health. If I think back to my own youth, health was more the norm. In fact, according to research, there are higher levels of malnutrition in my country today than there were when food rationing was on during World War II. I mean, how can that be? How can it be possible that we know more now than ever before about what the human body and mind and emotions need in order to be healthy? Yet we're making such poor decisions regarding what we do with our bodies on a daily basis. And those decisions are leading to the outcomes that we're getting of increased teenage obesity, diabetes, and other kinds of health problems that are completely avoidable if we just made better choices. If I think back to my own time when I was in school, I can only really remember there being one kid who was what you would consider to be obese. And this lad was so fat that he would get breathless when he was just walking and climbing the stairs. He could barely run, and he would often fall asleep in lessons. And people would say, well, weren't his parents a bit out of order? Shouldn't they have known better? Well, maybe so. But there are many complex reasons as to why we end up making some of the bad choices that we do. In fact, it's really almost inevitable that with the increase in advertising, more than 3,000 adverts that young people are bombarded with on a daily basis, and there aren't many of those on fruits and vegetables and healthy living. The majority of them will come from companies that want to sell their products so that they can make more profit. And inevitably, there's lots of them focused on sugary drinks and sugary snacks and other unhealthy activities that cause our bodies pain and problems. When you consider that you add to that we move less now than any other point in time, because instead of walking somewhere, cycling somewhere, running somewhere, we jump in a car, get on a bus, ride a tram or a train, so we don't exercise as much as we used to. I heard this shocking statistic recently, that the average young person in Britain today spends less time outdoors than your average prison inmate. What? And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense, because now, rather than going out and playing sports as much as previous generations did, or climbing trees or going on an adventure, we get on our phone, our iPad, our computer, and they are our forms of entertainment. So even though we've never known more about what we need to be healthy, to eliminate disease and have a capacity for energy, to have a wonderful life, we've never been in such a bad state. And what I've decided to do is make sure that over the coming weeks and months, this is just the first of many episodes where I want to interview experts on teen health and pick out different elements so that we can finally master this area of our lives, so that we can have that vitality to have more happiness and more success. So are you ready? Are you ready for the 3 elements that are the essential elements of teen health? Let's dig in. So the first essential element of teen health is your physical health. Now you might say, well, that's a bit bleeding obvious, Kevin, but let me drill down into 4 smaller sections of physical health where you need to develop positive habits and daily routines if you're going to have an absence of disease, avoid those illnesses, and have the energy that you're going to need to have a vital life, to have that vitality so that you can have more success and more happiness. Here's the 4 little subgroups: what you eat, what you drink, how you exercise, and how you rest. They're the 4 little subgroups. Now, if I were to ask you, what do we need to eat? How many portions of fruit and vegetables do we need to consume each day in order to make sure that we have the nutrients that are required for a healthy mind and body? What would you say? How many portions? Now, when I ask this question to teenagers in my seminars in schools, they usually say 5 a day. And they say 5 a day because there's been a big government campaign here in Britain that you've got to consume 5 portions of fruit and vegetables a day. Here's the problem. When the politicians made that campaign, they actually were in possession of research that showed that actually you need 7 portions of fruit and veg a day. But they dumbed it down because they didn't believe that the general public would consume 7 portions of fruit and veg a day. Here's the problem with that. Young people might then consume 2 or 3 portions and think they're around about halfway there, when in actual fact, they're nowhere near. Through our research, as I mentioned earlier on, less than 3% of teenagers get the required numbers of portions of fruit and vegetables that are required for health. I heard a parent at a school where I was doing some work recently say, and I couldn't believe it, I was like, are you joking me right now? Did you actually not just think that thought? You said it out loud. She said, "Oh, we don't have fruit and vegetables in our house." I was like, what? That's like admitting to child abuse. We don't get things in our house to give our children what they need to be healthy. No, we don't do that. It's as if they've got a beige diet. Anything that's the colour beige, you can eat. Bread, fine. Pasta, fine. Cake, fine. Anything beige, bring it in. But if it's colourful and it's fruits and vegetables, no, we don't do that here. We'd rather deprive ourselves of the nutrients that we need so we can be ill more often. Sorry for the sarcasm. I couldn't resist. So it's really important that you get yourselves in routines, and I'm going to have guests on in future about how you make healthy food taste good. Because here's the problem. The teenage mouth contains 5 times more taste buds that detect sourness than an adult. So when they bite into broccoli as a teenager, it tastes more bitter, more sour than it does for an adult. Our taste buds change as we get older. But we've got all these neuro associations in our head that when we bit into those things when we were younger, we hated it, so we then stay hating it for the rest of our life, even though the palate's changed. And there are some great simple things that you can do to make healthy food taste good. And that's why I'm going to have some experts in this area come on the show in future episodes to reveal what you can do to make healthy food taste good. When it comes to drinking, really we need to reduce our sugar and caffeine intakes. These are things that cause damage. They might taste good. They might give you a fake drug-like uplift in your energy levels, but they actually cause more problems over the longer term. So we need to get into the routine of just drinking more water. The world's most popular thing. There's more of it on the planet than anything else, and we just need to drink more of it. Ideally, 8 big glasses or 2 litres sipped throughout the day would increase your physical health. Then it comes to exercise. Now, you can go into lots of detail just in this topic alone. I've split out 3 little elements of exercise that I started to get into in my late teenage years because my body regularly had physical pain. I had problems with my back and with my hips. And so I discovered that one of the reasons why I had pain in my body was because I wasn't strong. It looked like I had muscles, but those muscles didn't have much power or capacity in them. So I'm not asking you to go straight to the gym now and start lifting weights. If you're ever going to take a program, or for that matter, take on any of the things that are in this episode, it's important that you understand I am not a qualified doctor, a qualified physician, or have any qualifications whatsoever in health. What I have are great observation skills because I work with teenagers on a daily basis, and I know that teenagers need to do better in general in this area. And so if you get inspired by anything that I'm saying here today, please go and make sure you get some professional advice. And when you go to a gym or you start working out and you speak to your doctor for some exercise routines, they will talk about your physical strength. One of the reasons I had back pain was because my core was weak. It looked like I was lean. It looked like I had a 6-pack, but actually I was weak in my core. And there were imbalances in my muscles that were causing me to have bad posture, which brings me to the next thing, which is about your physical alignment. So your posture, your shoulder position, the alignment of your hips, your knee joints, these are really important. They seem like little things when we're young, but when you're out of a line, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you do that this year, next year, the year after, and so on and so forth, and you stretch it out over 10 or 20 years, you end up experiencing all kinds of horrible pain in the future that was completely avoidable if you'd have sorted out your posture and your alignment during your teenage years. So we've got strength, we've got alignment, and then we've got endurance. And that's our CO2 max, our heart's capacity to keep us going. Do you get tired quickly? Do you get breathless quickly? When you're on a swim, when you're on a run, when you're on a rowing machine, when you're climbing upstairs, do you have good endurance? And if you have, then you're going to have that energy that you need to pursue your goals. Every goal requires effort. And if you haven't got the capacity to do that, then sometimes you underachieve when you needn't have done so. So there's that little category of exercise. And then finally, we get to rest. And rest is about getting a minimum of 8 to 9 hours of uninterrupted sleep every night. But also now we're discovering the importance of resting in the day as well. In the past, we would have downtime. If you were standing at a bus stop, you had downtime. When you went to the bathroom, you had downtime. There were these frequent downtimes throughout the day where your mind and body just got a few seconds or a few minutes of rest. But today, when you're standing at a bus stop, you tend to get out your phone and stimulate your mind more. When you go to the bathroom, you get out your phone. Or is it just me? Right? And you stimulate your mind more. There's no downtime. And because there's no downtime in the day, we're not getting the rest that the mind and body needs in order to be healthy. So I'm going to get some experts on in future around these topics of what to eat, what to drink, how to exercise, and how to rest if you're going to have better teen health. The second essential element of teen health is mental health. This, thankfully, finally, is becoming mainstream. We don't just have Mental Health Week. In the last month, the princes here, Harry and William, along with William's wife, the beautiful Kate, the royal family are now shining a light on the importance of mental health. And in the past, where it was seen as you're weak or you're pathetic and why are you talking about these things, it's now, thankfully, finally becoming okay to let people know that you're struggling mentally and that you need some help and support. But what is mental health? Well, really, it's about our psychological well-being. It's about the thoughts that you're thinking and how in your mind you're processing the world around you. And you're being able to do that in ways that support your well-being rather than draining you of your energy and causing you to feel bad. So mental health is about equipping yourself with better thinking skills. Because if you know how to think, if you know how to process the world around you, if you have strategies for that, you can keep yourself in a positive mental state, irrespective of what happens. But if you don't equip yourself with mental health strategies and mental health techniques, when bad things happen around you, they can send you spiraling into negative states of depression and other horrible emotions. So what I'm committed to doing through this podcast is making sure that we get some mental health professionals to come onto the show to give us some of those strategies that we can use to protect this really important area of our health. Just like physical health doesn't happen automatically on your own, mental health doesn't happen automatically on its own either. There are certain exercises we need to do and daily routines we need to adopt if we're going to be strong and vital in this area. If you're going to be powerful psychologically, you need to exercise. One of those techniques could be around taking control of your self-talk, the words and the phrases that you say to yourself. Another technique is around learning to ask yourself better questions. For example, if you keep saying to yourself things like, why does it always go wrong? Why does it always me? How come nobody likes me? If you ask negative questions, you get negative answers. If on the other hand, you asked, what can I do to make my life better? How can I build more friendships? If you ask better questions, you get better answers. And that promotes a better sense of mental health. If you are feeling like you're struggling in this area at the moment, we're going to put some links in the show notes today to organisations where you can get free help. Here in the UK, there's a charity called Mind, and you can reach out and get in touch with them. There's another charity called the Samaritans, and there's also a young person's specialist organisation called Childline. Of course, I don't know where in the world you're listening, but I do know that in most countries, there are all kinds of organisations, national organisations, regional, and even local charities that exist in order to help you with your mental health. Please know this. If you're feeling down right now, no matter what problem you've got, there is a solution to that. And there are people out there that, even though you might not know the solution, there are people out there that do have the solutions and that they want to help you. So rather than brush it under the carpet and pretend like you're not struggling with stress, worry, anxiety, or depression or an other negative mental state, then please reach out to an expert and get some help and advice. Worst case scenario, go and see your doctor. Tell them how you're feeling and they'll be able to support you in this really important area. So the third and final essential element of teen health is your emotional health. Now you might be sat there going, oh, well, hang on a minute, Kev, you were just talking about that. No, I was talking a moment about mental health. And yes, mental health and emotional health are very closely linked and overlap each other. In fact, all three essential elements are interlinked. Your physical health, your mental health, and your emotional health are more like three concentric circles that are overlapping each other. They are all totally interlinked. If you go and download the freebie that goes with this session, you'll see a diagram of exactly what I'm talking about. Go to unstoppableteen.com/43 download, and you'll have a little mini poster that you can put on your wall, that you can share with folks in your school about these three essential elements of teen health. You see, emotional health is subtly different to mental health, but they often get chunked together. Your emotional health is really about, yes, your feelings, your sense of your spirit, or as I call it, your soul. It's those emotions inside. It's about your level of happiness, your level of confidence. Now, here's the thing. In the West, in so-called developed countries, when we're intervening with health, we tend to intervene with physical health or mental health. And those things have a knock-on effect to your emotional health and your emotional well-being. The truth is that you can intervene with any of these three and it will have a knock-on effect to the others. So, let's say that you've been experiencing some illness recently. Let's say you haven't had as much energy as you'd like to. Maybe you get sick a little bit too often. You keep catching sore throats. You sneeze a lot. You catch a cold really easily. And that happens a lot throughout the year. Maybe you get tired and you feel like you haven't got as much energy as you'd like to have. Maybe your stress levels are higher than you're comfortable with. You haven't been well recently. Now, if you wanted to change your health, you could go in at level number 1, which I described as being your physical health. You could start and change your diet. You could start and change your sleep patterns. You could change your exercise routines. And that alone, just by working on your physical body, your physical health, would have a knock-on effect on your mental health and your emotional health. Alternatively, you might sort of say, no, I don't really like that idea of working on my body. So the second thing that we do in the West, in the so-called developed world, is we go to work on mental health. And we'll go and see a therapist and we'll talk about the problems that we're experiencing. They'll equip us with some mental health techniques. They might do things like psychoanalysis. They might go through a counseling process. And by doing that, you'll have an inadvertent knock-on effect on your emotional health and on your physical health as well. Interestingly, in some cultures around the world, they go to the third level that I gave you as the starting point. In some cultures around the world, they don't go to physical health. They don't go to mental health. They go straight to the emotions. And they start moving the emotions and merging the emotions and eliminating negative ones and building positive ones. It really doesn't matter which of the three elements you go to first. What matters is, first of all, that you understand they're totally interlinked. And then second of all, it's about finding your preference. And go to the one that you have a natural lean to. If you like being outdoors and moving your body, go to work on your physical health. If you're more of a thinker, go to work on your emotional health. If you're curious about what people are doing around the world in other cultures, maybe you want to start with emotional health. They're all interlinked. They all have a relationship with each other and they overlap and have a knock-on effect. matters is, eventually, that you go to work on all three. Because as somebody once told me, Kev, there's a big difference between being fit and being healthy. Let me explain. You might just go to work on your physical health. In fact, right now I can think of a woman that goes to the same gym as me. And it's as if every time I go there, she's there. I'm thinking, do you sleep in the gym? You know, sometimes I walk into the gym, she'll be on a treadmill. Another day I'll go there, she'll be on one of the stepper machines. Another day that I go there, she'll be in a body combat class. Another day I go there, she's in the pool going up and down like a motorboat, barely taking a breath there for at least an hour, up and down and up and down. Another day I'll go, she'll be in the sauna. Another day that I go, she'll be in another Zumba class or something else. I'm like, do you even go home? This woman is fit, but I question whether she's healthy. Let me explain the difference. You can train the body, but sometimes for some people, they get so obsessed with looking in the mirror that even though their body is fit, their mind is not healthy. They might have body image issues. They might be struggling with body dysmorphia. They might have addictions. They look fit, but they're not actually healthy. So whilst I'm saying to you that it's okay to choose a place to start, physical health to start, mental health to start, or emotional health to start, what's important is that over time, you move around all three categories. That you don't just obsessively focus on one and sacrifice the others. It's important that you spend time each week on your emotional well-being. For example, you might start practicing meditation. You might start practicing mindfulness. You might start practicing anchoring techniques from the area of NLP or neuro-linguistic programming. I've opened up some loops there for you that I hope have stimulated some curiosity for you to go and have a look. It's easy to go after the physical. Next is mental. But ultimately, the big one is your emotional health and well-being. I hope that you found the content in today's session insightful. If you're worried about the health of a teenager in your life, whether it's one of your friends, whether it's a family member, or maybe one or more of your students, please go and access the show notes to today's episode. You'll find them at unstoppableteen.com/45. This is episode 45. And of course, remember that download, unstoppableteen.com/43 download. Go to those pages on our website. There'll be all kinds of little helpful bits that you can use there to get your health and the health of your loved ones on track. We'll be back in future with some expert advice. I'm going to get some experts on the show for these different categories. Before then, go ahead and subscribe to the show. You'll find us on iTunes, you'll find us on YouTube, and we'll be back next week with more hints, more tips, more advice to help you become truly unstoppable. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.